In late 2022, China made a quiet adjustment to its industrial metals policy. No announcement, no press conference. But inside customs data and refinery throughput numbers, one metal began behaving differently. Silver exports slowed, not stopped, redirected. That distinction matters. Because when a state redirects supply, it is not trading. It is preparing. This was not about price. It was about control. China does not announce resource strategy the way markets expect. It signals through policy language. Licensing changes and export approvals. Silver never received a headline ban. Instead, it entered a permission system. Exports required justification. Domestic allocation received priority. This is how strategic resources are managed without triggering panic. This was not unprecedented. China has done this before with rare earths, with graphite, with gallium and germanium. Silver followed the same pattern. Silver is not jewelry to China. It is infrastructure. Silver is embedded in solar dominance, grid-scale energy storage, advanced electronics, military communications. These sectors are not optional. They are national priorities. You do not export strategic inputs when you are scaling dominance. This is where the misunderstanding begins. The West treats silver as a market good. China treats silver as industrial blood flow. Once silver enters China's industrial system, it does not return to global markets. It is dispersed, embedded, and rendered unrecoverable. This is not hoarding in vaults. It is consumption with intent. This creates a one-way drain, invisible to pricing models, but devastating to supply. And here's the problem. Global silver markets were built on the assumption that China would always export excess supply. That assumption is now obsolete. And when assumptions break, systems follow. When most people hear export controls, they imagine bans, hard stops, headlines, retaliation. China does not operate this way. It uses friction instead of banning silver exports. China introduced licensing complexity. Export approvals became conditional. Purpose mattered. Destination mattered. Timing mattered. Industrial use received priority. Market redistribution did not. Silver still moved, but only where it aligned with domestic objectives. This achieves something critical. Supply tightens globally without triggering trade retaliation. China does not need to hoard silver in vaults. It absorbs it through manufacturing scale. The country produces more solar panels than the rest of the world combined. Each unit uses silver. That silver never re-enters markets. This creates a silent effect. Exports don't need to stop. They simply become irrelevant. Here's another overlooked lever: refining. China controls a significant portion of global silver refining capacity. Raw material enters, finished product stays. Refined silver is routed directly into domestic supply chains. Control of refining is control of availability. So now consider the position of the rest of the world. Global markets rely on silver flows they no longer control. From a country that has already decided silver is strategic. That is not a supply issue. It is a dependency problem. Once China reclassifies silver as a strategic input, the rest of the world faces a problem. There is no symmetrical response. The first instinct in the West is simple: increase supply, but silver does not respond quickly to price signals. Most silver is mined as a byproduct of copper, of lead, of zinc. You cannot double silver production without restructuring entire mining operations. Even at higher prices, supply lags by years. The second instinct is recycling, but silver recycling is inefficient. It is dispersed across millions of devices in microscopic quantities. Recovery costs exceed market value at scale. Recycling helps at the margin. It does not solve strategic shortages. Silver is consumed, not stored, unlike oil, unlike rare earths. Western nations do not maintain strategic silver reserves. They outsourced inventory to markets. Markets optimize for efficiency, not resilience. This leaves one option: compete in open markets against a state buyer that does not care about price. And that creates a dangerous imbalance, like when one side treats silver as a cost and the other treats it as power. Price stops being decisive. Control does. When a state controls a strategic input, the impact is not felt immediately in markets. It is felt in systems that cannot pause. Silver is essential to modern energy infrastructure. Photovoltaic cells, grid connectors, high-efficiency conductors. Global energy transitions assume silver availability, but those assumptions were made before silver became strategic. When silver supply tightens, energy expansion slows without warning. Defense systems use silver for reliability, missile guidance, secure communications, radar systems. Defense procurement cannot wait for markets to rebalance. If silver is unavailable, programs delay or costs explode. This is where markets and national security collide. Once energy and defense face constraints, industrial systems follow. Manufacturers hedge supply outside open markets. Long-term contracts replace spot buying. Smaller nations and firms are priced out entirely. This is how scarcity spreads, not evenly, but hierarchically. At this stage, silver is no longer traded for profit. It is allocated for survival. And once allocation begins, markets stop setting outcomes, states do. When a resource becomes strategic, its price is no longer discovered in markets. It is revealed through disruption. Silver will not reprice because investors speculate. It will reprice because systems fail without it. Delays become outages. Outages become crises. Only then does price reset. This repricing will not be smooth. Some nations will secure supply, others will compete publicly, and many will be locked out. This is how resource shocks reorder power. Scarcity reveals hierarchy. This story was never about price targets or trade recommendations. It was about visibility. Those who saw the shift early adjusted quietly. Those who did not will learn through consequences. Silver did not disappear. It was redirected. And once a resource is redirected by states, it does not return to free markets easily. If you want to understand the next shift before it becomes visible, this channel exists for that reason. What if you knew the next strategic move before anyone else did? Comment your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe for the next revelation.